I find it fitting that we wanted to talk about the trade deadline and then that happens.
They heard us. They said on one of the busiest days, we're gonna make it even more chaotic, but they knew somehow. Yeah.
Ugh, I hate the Rangers.
I'm not loving it on the Avs side either. Like it's giving me what are we doing? Why? For what reason?
So like I like
The
okay.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Here's you guys should know what's happening. We do this a lot. We just start talking about something and you're supposed to know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, if you don't know about this, sorry. We're
Keep moving on. We're
um
fine.
welcome back to Read Between the Blue Lines. I'm Mackenzie, that's Bree. The Rangers made another trade. So did
Surprise,
the
surprise. It's like the
Avalanche.
third episode. Is it?
Uh,
The third one that they've no, wait. No, because we didn't really like fully talk about Truba. It was just kind of like mentioned.
yeah. It's like the third episode
Almost
where we're
every episode they do something that we have to talk about. They
Mhm.
somebody calm down. Go to bed. Like
Yeah, so I was getting my glasses fixed. Um, and I see my phone. And so the trade is, sorry, I had like a lot of caffeine and I feel like my body's like buzzing and my brain is
we're like
not.
shaking.
So yeah. Um, Colorado receives Ryan Lindgren. Rangers retain 50% of the salary. Colorado also is getting Jimmy Vesey and Hank Kempf. And then the Rangers are receiving Huso?
Yuso Parsonen?
Parsonen. I sorry, I
Yeah.
was like, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Calvin DeHaan, and then a 2025 second round pick and a 2025 conditional fourth round pick. Um, both of which will be like the better of the picks that have the options. And
Yeah.
I like Lindgren. I used to like Lindgren. He's been having a rough, it's not even that bad. He's taking like more
No,
penalties, I feel like, on the calls than he should.
yeah.
And
And I think didn't he get like
mm,
he had surgery or something last season or he was injured, right? Or am I mixing
he
it
was
up?
injured for a while, yeah.
But I feel like a lot of
So
people like go back to that and they're like, oh, since then he hasn't been the same kind of player, but also that always doesn't always contribute to like a what happened? It's another bug.
no, there's oh my God.
Oh.
You guys didn't see it. A bug attacked me in our
Last
last
episode.
episode
Yeah.
and I posted the
Hilarious.
blooper on socials like YouTube and whatever and it I sound so mean.
It was the funniest thing though.
It was
Like we
funny,
were
but
unprepared.
the like me yelling at you like, "Brianna, what are you doing?" It came out so
Me
mean.
just
I'm so
trying to
sorry.
save it's fine. It's
I love
okay.
that you were like, "Let's save the bug." And I was like,
Okay,
"Kill it,
if it
murder
was
it."
any other bug, I would have been out.
Anyways, there's a bird outside of my window that's like I want to say it's a hawk. Um
What?
It sounds like
Okay.
an eagle screeching outside of
Oh
my
my
window.
God.
It's fine. It's gone.
Love it. Okay,
Anyways,
random. Stopping by to say hi.
so apparently we can't record at night. We can't record during the day. We can't
There's
record
too much
ever because
happening.
I've lost my mind. I don't think, as much as I like Lindgren, I don't think that him and VC are worth two picks this year.
No,
But is what it
no.
is.
It's also I have to like go back and see what they've gotten from all these trades, but like the amount of picks they've acquired is giving like slight rebuild vibes because like why would you need that many picks if you aren't trying like usually it's giving like it reminds me of when I think it was the
Unless they're
Sharks.
making a
They had
play
so many. Yeah, I mean like they
for
can
like
use them.
Rantanen or something.
Yeah, but I can't. Anyway, yeah, I guess like you can move those picks again for another trade, but like I don't know. It's a lot. And like I feel like the teams that usually trade for more picks are the ones that are like, okay, we're kind of not doing anything right now and we're gonna move like you're kind of moving forward with it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and like look, but yeah, unless they're just accumulating them to be like, here's 7 picks so we can get a one of the big players, if that's it. And like Branson's the only one I can think of that would would require that much, but I don't know. It's making me nervous. I don't like it.
Hmm.
As we're just
It's
doing
not even
questionable
that
things.
it's not even that I'm like upset with I don't really like the trade for either team. I don't feel like Lindgren
It's
and
weird.
VC have the style of play that's really going to perform well in Colorado, and I don't know exactly how it's going to, I don't know. It's
No,
fine.
valid. I also like they might. I don't know if they would flip them, the two of them, for something in the future to be like, hey, we. I don't know why you'd give up 2 draft picks for players that you're just going to trade away anyway. But like that's also an option, but still seems the whole thing just seems weird to me. Like it's not something that makes sense for either of them, I guess. And I was just like, okay, cool, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird one. I'm not I'm not sold yet.
I will
We'll
say
see how that goes.
I saw it and texted Brianna, no, 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 no,
Yeah,
no,
why were
no,
you
in
so
all caps.
panicked?
I just because I have a feeling something worse is coming, and I feel like
Oh, that's not very good.
no, but like I texted my aunt about it, and she goes, and so it begins, and I was like, that's what I feel like. I feel like this is like the beginning of like the end of the
Do you
Rangers,
remember? Do you
and I
remember?
feel like we're heading into a massive rebuild that like I don't necessarily
Yeah.
know that we need.
No, but I think you saying that reminds me, and I remember this so clearly, like it was yesterday. Like between the 2018 and 19, when they kind of just sold, like got rid of literally everyone.
Hmm.
It's although again, like those were like major players that we were like, what are you doing? It's kind of feels like it's leading up to that, and like all your core players are still in place right now. But like if you're gonna get rid of everybody else around them first,
Well, it
like
feels like
nobody is safe.
they're gonna get rid of the UFAs first because they want to get
Yeah,
something in return for them. Um,
which makes sense this
and
close to the
then
deadline, but
during the off season, they might just sell and sell
that
and
is
sell
insane.
until we don't have a team left. And that's my like that's I
Igor.
genuinely
Igor is the team. That's it. All you need is a goalie. It's fine. Like, it's okay.
I'm not happy with him right now.
No,
The game against Toronto was mm,
yeah. I don't know. I'm not, yeah, it's not giving
oh
me confidence in like whatever's
no.
going to happen
Yeah.
from here on out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good, yeah. I don't like it. I
So
don't
for
like
those of
it.
you who don't know, Bree is a researcher for the NHL Network.
I am.
We love her.
I feel like I haven't said that on here before, but yes,
I don't know that we've ever like
literally all the,
officially said it. I think we've both like alluded that we work in
yeah.
hockey, but not like a lot. So we were asked last night about the Rangers, and I want to scream. Um,
When don't we? When it comes to
after
them, literally.
after the Toronto game, the Rangers lead the league with the most goals allowed in the first 2 minutes with 11, and I hate it.
That's like it doesn't surprise me when I like went to go
Wait,
ask, but
hold on. Look
like,
at this little frog. He's so cute.
is he in what? He's so
He's in
cute.
like a little jar.
You know, that'd be like the cutest little tattoo, wouldn't it? It's giving like the cute, you know, like those cute little ones. That's what, yeah, right? I just gave you an idea.
Well, yeah, because I have.
Ken's gonna
Okay.
come back and be like, "Look at my little frog tattoo."
I don't even need to go get it. I have ink and a needle in my room.
Okay, experiment.
Stick
Anyway,
and poke kit
I
is like
love the little frog.
$10.
Oh my God.
Would not don't do that.
I don't have enough confidence in myself to do that.
I have a little
But
dinosaur on my leg. His name is Kevin. That was
that's a
stick and
frog.
poke. Yeah.
There you go.
We should add a frog next time, give him a friend.
I love it.
Yeah. Okay, back to hockey. Um, so we wanted to talk about the trade deadline because it's less than a week away.
Under a week. Which
Yeah.
isn't that seems insane to me that this season has like flown by that fast.
I
I don't know
think
about you, but it's just weird. It's a weird one. Like it doesn't feel like that fast,
it doesn't feel that fast. I
but
also feel like
I'm like, how'd we get here?
Stadium Series is so late. Um,
Yes, which I don't know why they did that.
the Winter Classic was on the wrong day. All-Star
I think,
break was really late.
yeah, I think like I think Four Nations was a major part of why the schedule was so weird because they had to
Yeah.
like squish so much of it in and then they had so much time, not a lot of time off, but enough time off, which makes me curious to see how next year goes with the Olympics because if you have an even longer break in there, plus All-Star, the schedule has they either have to start really early and end late. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. But this one, for some reason, I feel like we've been watching hockey forever, but at the same time, I'm like, how is it March? Where, what? Hello?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
trade
also got
deadline
like
under a week.
I got like really into preseason this year. Which I feel like normally I'm like, oh, preseason. This year I
Eh,
went to like 4 preseason games.
I love it. I feel like preseason's underrated. I know it doesn't count, but like it's fun.
No, but also if you
And
want to
like
watch
you
some
might as
hockey
well
for cheap,
go. And like
preseason.
usually I know you're not gonna see like your full roster all the time, but you're gonna see enough of the players that usually play and players that like you may
You get
not
to
see
see
until later on.
prospects too
Yeah,
sometimes, and it's like cool to
I
like watch and
it's a
see.
win-win
Mhm.
in my book. And like it doesn't mean anything, so you get to have fun. It's yeah, preseason hockey for the win. No stress. It's the only part of the season that has no stress involved. So that's worth it. The big sigh. So relatable.
There are some teams that, oh my God, who's in net for the Predators right now?
I'm gonna
Because
look it up.
why are the Islanders winning 3-0 in the first
Oh my
period?
God, I didn't realize they scored again. It
Yeah, they
is
just scored.
Saros.
Okay.
19 shots, 3 goals. Nashville only has 3 shots on goal in the
Sounds
third
like the
period, in the first
Islanders
period.
Rangers game the other day.
Isles are out shooting them 19 to 33.
Oh God.
What?
Okay. This is
Anyway,
fine. I don't understand what's happening with this league right now. And okay, so speaking of
chaos.
the Predators, speaking of the trade deadline, we put that on our bingo card because they were struggling at the
They
beginning
still
of this
are.
calendar year. They are still struggling. Obviously, they're losing 3-0 to the Islanders in the first
And
period.
I think like they've kind of said they're going to be sellers because it's too far gone to even try and salvage making up. Like they can't, even if they win, like, I don't know the math, but it's like impossible. Their chances of making the
No
playoffs are
one,
so slim.
no one is mathematically out of the playoffs at this
Not
point.
yet.
I don't
No.
believe.
It's
Even
like
the Blackhawks and the Sharks and the Ducks.
1%.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like technically you're still in it. Just
Yeah.
realistically, they're not going to be in it, but
But so like what do you do? If you're the Predators, what do you do? Because the whole team right now is not
bad.
functioning the way that it should be. And especially considering how much they did during the offseason and how good their run was last year, you're like, okay, great. This
Yeah.
team should have performed really, really well. And the team is not performing well at all.
No, I also think like I don't want to say you can't. It's going to sound like really mean of me to say. When you spend like that much money on players who are all over the age of 30, I don't know if Brady Shea's over the age of 30. I want to say he is.
He's old enough.
But like for you to spend that much money on like Stamkos is over like it's just mind blowing to me that they were like, here's all this millions of dollars on these 3 players who yes have had success and yes are really great players, but they're kind of in like the I hate saying the twilight of their career, but like their prime is probably behind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're only gonna get so much like I don't know, that whole thing to me is just still insane. But I don't know if they like I think for bingo we said that they were gonna trade at least somebody, but like
I
because
think
they're
we
all
said that Nashville makes a big trade at the deadline. So I would say anytime from now to Friday,
yeah.
if Nashville makes pretty much any trade, because their entire roster is kind of like a big trade. They have a
Yeah.
lot of like really big names on their roster that even like I feel
And
like a casual hockey
big
fan would
contracts.
know. Yes, big
Yeah. So
contracts,
like
very big
I think if
contracts.
yes, so I think if any of them go, I don't know if you like wait out the experiment to be like, oh, we'll just try it again next season. But like if it didn't work this season, you would hope you change something. But they're the ones that I feel like I don't even know if we've talked about it enough about how they are probably the team with the most like assets that can probably get stuff in
Why am I
return.
why am
But
I not at this game? Did I
what, the
forgot this
Islanders
game
game?
was on Long Island. Yeah.
Yeah, it's at
Oopsie.
home.
I forgot.
12:30. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Don't get keep Forsberg.
yeah,
Um,
I feel like him and Yossi are like the only two that can't go anywhere, like won't can't or won't go
is
anywhere.
Yossi's not playing today.
No, he's hurt. He's
Oh yeah,
injured.
that. Thank you. I
He's
was like,
injured.
wait, what?
Sorry. But
Mm, like, do you get rid of Evangelista and Marchessault? Do you get rid of Stamkos? England
but
is
then
up.
it's a matter of who
Shea.
wants them and who takes that contract on. Even if they retain money.
I know. It just
You know
it's
what
a
I mean?
they're in a tough
It's
spot.
crazy. Like they put themselves like they dug their what is that phrase? Like they dug their
They dug their own grave.
yeah, kind of. Like
And
we were all like, "Oh my God, it's gonna be cup contender." And the fact that it didn't go that way is kind of like, "Oh my God, you guys messed up." And you messed up bad. Like it's bad.
but I feel like we could see this coming. Like I feel like everyone
Yeah,
over the offseason was like if they don't win a cup, it's like their
this is
own
it.
fault almost.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for
I
some of the players.
know.
Like I feel so bad for Saros, except like it's kind of his fault.
Yeah, for some reason this year, I don't know, again, I don't know what it is, but it's just like he had kind of like Igor, like he has some really good games and then some not so good games and then but the not so good games are more often. And then it's kind of like the team isn't
He's
playing well and
also
he's not playing well and it's just not
he's
great.
also not being paid $11.5 million a
Also,
year.
yeah, but he's getting paid like 8 something next year.
That's
But
fine.
yes, not
I also
11.5.
The thing with the Predators that makes me like really frustrated is the Milwaukee Admirals is a great team. They were in contention for the Calder last year. They had a great run. They have a really good, strong core that's like pretty young and pretty they skate well, they play well, they have good chemistry. Why are we not utilizing that? Also, I completely messed up my angle.
Oh,
So
it's
sorry.
okay.
Okay, if I'm
Um,
crooked, ignore it.
just don't look that. Just don't look at it.
Just pretend.
It's an interesting thing because I think I've at work a lot. We talk about how Hershey, which is the Caps AHL team, super successful, and a lot of their players that are now on the Caps did well there. They're doing really well, obviously, in the NHL now.
Mhm.
But I feel like the Caps they are like the perfect example of they use their prospects when they're ready. They pull them up, they let them develop in the league in the AHL, and then pull them up, and they do really well. But I feel like
And they actually give them time in the
yes,
show to
and I think
like
that obviously
figure
it
it out.
works. It
Mhm.
works because Hershey's won what two back-to-back Calder Cups now. I think. I think it's two. I don't think it's three because they beat Coachella both times. But like all of their young guys and players that are like kind of they're surrounding your, if you want to call it core in Washington,
Yeah.
they're all those players that did so well in the AHL and they've made that transition and they don't like if you don't do well in like 5 games, they don't send you back down and they're like, okay, see you later. And I feel like Nashville's the one where it's like we'll just keep getting people that are already in the league, even if they're not as good anymore, because that's gonna like supplement our roster and it is not working. If you have talent there, like the whole point of the AHL is for you to let those players learn, develop, and then make that jump to
Yep.
the NHL. And then
Mhm.
guess what? Then they have their talent, and then that helps you win. Also, the Rangers could probably take note of this too, but we're done with them for today.
You think?
Which is they're a whole other issue when it comes to developing their players. But yeah, I
I
feel
think
like
it's
Nashville would
also
have solved their own problem if they did that.
yeah, it's also weird to me because like Coachella obviously does a really good job
Yeah, them
in
too.
the minors and then the Kraken I think could utilize some of them a little bit better. Um, but I think casual hockey fans are obviously not as in tune to the AHL as people like us are,
No,
and
agreed.
which is fine, completely
It's
fine.
fun though.
If you want fun hockey, if you want cheaper hockey, go find your local AHL team. Also, they
Yeah.
exist in places where NHL does not sometimes. And I think my issue is that a lot of teams, a lot of fans call automatically for a trade.
Yeah.
And I know you just said we were done with the Rangers. However, my issue currently is that Offman was brought up, and I keep referencing this Rangers group chat that I'm in. Everyone was so upset with him at the end of the Toronto game. And I'm like, have we considered
He's learning.
they don't give him a chance? Also, the Rangers' fourth
Yeah.
line is one of the most productive lines as of late with them. And the other night, they had an amazing game.
Hmm.
against the
As usual.
Islanders.
Yeah.
And then in the Toronto game, they all played less than like 10 minutes.
Which doesn't help you learn how to play if you're not even playing on the like.
Hmm.
Yeah. Again, I know it's like we always say it's not that serious, but also you have 82 games, and unless you're losing, like, I'm so sorry to the Sharks, unless you're like the Sharks who lose like 10 games 3 times, 10 games in a row 3 times a year, you can afford to lose a couple games if that's what it takes for your players to kind of learn what their mistakes are and be like, okay,
But
here's
also,
your
especially if you're at the point where like you're probably not going to make the playoffs, and not,
yes,
and I understand like the Rangers are still obviously very much in
they're
contention
in
for the
it, yeah,
playoffs. That I posted on Threads the other day. The East is insane right now because the
crazy.
Rangers and Islanders were like butt up against each other the other day, and within 2 games, I think
Now that they're like
they were
almost at the bottom again.
completely separated, and it's insane. But instead of just calling automatically for a trade or to buy or to sell, we have a system in North American hockey and in the NHL
For that
that's like
reason.
pretty straightforward of how you develop players and how you bring them up. And like maybe we should stop putting 18-year-olds in the
Mhm.
NHL and expecting them to perform
Yeah. Also, I
like
don't
people
think
who have been
it's
playing in the NHL for 5 years.
yeah, and I don't think this is another thing that maybe it's just like me being whatever, like too sympathetic, but I also think like if there's a player that's sent down to the AHL is like they always call them like conditioning loans or
Hmm.
however they phrase it to be like I don't want to say like you're not good enough to play with us right now, but like go play with the AHL when you're ready, we'll play you back up. Usually happens
Yeah.
after injuries. But honestly, that to me doesn't seem like a bad thing. So I'm like, they still want you. They want you to get better. And if you getting better means going to play a couple games with the minor league team, go do it because you're probably going to come back. They're going to have more confidence in you. You're going to be, you know what I mean? And I feel like everybody just looks at it like such a bad thing. And I'm like, but there's still
It's
good players there. They just have to like, I
it's
don't know.
not a bad thing, but I disagree with the ping ponging. Like what they were doing with
No, that
Rempe
I,
earlier this year, where like,
but if it's like a one stretch,
but also New York has like the Rangers and the Islanders are both like relatively close to their AHL teams.
yeah.
Um,
There's
and
some that are not
some don't have
like
that advantage. Like Milwaukee and Nashville are not that
Utah.
close.
Utah's now they have the Arizonas still, so they're literally their AHL teams in Tucson, Arizona,
Yeah,
just
Seattle and
chilling.
Coachella aren't close. So like if you're a player on those teams, I can't even, and like Hershey and DC aren't close.
Not close. I don't think Utica and Jersey aren't the
No.
closest ever
Utica's like
either.
4 hours away.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's not that you can throw a rock and be there. I'm trying to think of other ones that are like really far away,
But so if you have to like ping
but
pong back and forth, like Vancouver has everything like pretty close to each other.
yeah,
And like that's fine. But if you have to ping pong back and forth and like you have to like uproot your entire life
and multiple
for
times.
however many games they want you to be there and then go
Yeah,
back,
and then
it just
do
feels
the
like a
same thing
lot
over
for
again.
these kids to like it feels like a lot of like
Yeah.
stress and it doesn't feel like it's a good way to do it. So anyways, all this to say, I think that certain teams need to focus a lot more on development than they need to on big trades. And I think
Hmm.
that the Rangers and Nashville are two of them that
Yeah.
have really strong potential and just aren't doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I don't know.
We'll see
That's
how that pans out. I think more for the Rangers because again, Nashville's kind of done
but
for the
like
season. I don't want to say that, but like they kind of are. So
yeah, I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't know. We'll see.
I'm wondering what's going on with Besser. Um,
Yeah, I actually,
because he was
I hate this.
offered, what was he
It's
offered?
like 40 million
8.5 for five
for
years?
5 years. Yeah,
And
but
he
he
said
wants like
nope.
an 8 year
Yeah.
deal, which I want. I think the only person they have like signs. I want to say Petey's the only one that they have like signed for a very long time. Everybody else is like Quinn is up in 2 years. Somebody else is up in 2 years, and I don't know. And they sign everybody else to like 8 year deals or 6 year deals or whatever. I'm not a fan. If I end up going to this Canucks game in March and he's not there, I might. It's fine. It's happened to me before, but like I'm not gonna be happy. Also, like my biggest thing too, again, it's gonna make me sound like I'm too sympathetic for the sport. I hate when there's players who spent their entire career with one team and it doesn't end up working. I feel the same way about like Jake Gensel. Like you've spent your whole career with this one team, and just because it comes down to like a salary or contract thing, and then you end up leaving, it just doesn't feel as like I don't know how to explain it. Like if there's an issue, I'd be like,
And then
okay, we're
Gensel's
fine.
getting like thrown
Yes.
between teams once
So
he
I'm like,
leaves.
but I'm like, you've played your whole career in this one spot, and if you want to stay, like, wouldn't you try and do everything you possibly could to stay there? Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
What do we think the likelihood is that Colorado
But
gets Rantanen back?
I just-
Because it's not out of the
it would
realm of
take it, but
possibility.
like, yeah, but now I also don't know. No, I guess he would still have a spot in the lineup. But like, how silly would that be to be like, oh, we traded him, and now we're trading to have him back?
Yeah,
Oh my God, the Canucks only have 2 million in cap space.
that's
So
crazy.
not great. Also, but I keep forgetting the cap goes up next year. But
It does.
I
I
don't know.
just
Do you think, because this is me on hockey Twitter too much, what?
sorry.
What happened?
I don't know if this is real at all,
Please.
but it's a tweet that says OV is 12 goals away from passing Gretzky. Capitals play the Lightning this afternoon. John Cooper apparently said if he breaks the record tonight, then we did something wrong.
12 goals in one game? Oh my God. I
Possible.
mean, there's no way. I still can't believe we're like that close for
What
that.
what were you gonna say on about Twitter?
Oh, because I just see a bunch of Devils fans complaining all the time. Do you think they make a move before the deadline, or
I don't
everybody's like they
know.
need the better, like their bottom six is terrible. I feel like everybody knows this, and they haven't done anything about it. And I'm like, but who would they give? Like again, the worst part about a trade is like somebody there has to be a team that wants said person off your
Yeah.
team, and if nobody wants them, they're not going anywhere. So even if you need to fill that, you should probably address it. But it doesn't mean those players are going to be moved.
I just don't know who
That's
you
my
could
like
trade that would really
exactly
give enough of an impact. I'm sure they'll do something. I just don't think it's gonna be as like intense as some
monumental.
people want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Because I'm
every day I
looking at
open
it
up
and
Twitter
like,
and they like there was one where they were like calling out how many times like the defense had scored in like bottom six hadn't scored in like X amount of
yeah.
games. I'm like, you people are so committed
Okay,
to getting
so
this team somebody that can score in the bottom six.
let's run through it.
What's
Wouldn't
valid,
trade
but
Nason. Wouldn't trade Heischer. Probably wouldn't
obviously
trade
not.
Bastion. Wouldn't trade Palat. McDermott, I go back and forth on personally.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. Um, although I would, oh God, McDermott doesn't have a point this season.
No, he also doesn't play every game.
No, I know.
So that's actually yeah.
Anyways, so like
Anyways.
McDermott, maybe. Meyer, I wouldn't trade. Dowling is on the block. Lazar is on the block. I hate to say it, but Cotter's probably also on the block.
You know, he brings the vibes though, so I feel like people would be so mad that
Yeah.
he also started the year so good.
Okay, but like Holla should also be on the block, but they're not going to get
Yeah.
rid of him. Bratt and Hughes obviously have to stay. Tatar, I
Oh my God, I didn't realize how nobody
and
scores in this team
if
actually.
if they get rid of Mercer, I will cry. Um, I just like I'm looking at this and I just because if your options are McDermott, Dowling, Lazar, Cotter, Holla, Tatar, maybe
Again,
Mercer. Also, but Mercer's +8, so never mind. He's staying. You
yeah.
what? Who are you getting
That's
for
what I
those
mean.
names?
And it's not like they're maybe you said not Nason. 'Cause I feel like he might be worth something.
Nason's the one that everyone on Twitter wants to go. Um,
But like he's I don't know. I
But
just every time I open it,
if you had to give up someone in that range, Nason has 32 points and Palat has 23. Cotter has
yeah,
19 and then Mercer has 25. And so like out of those names, why is Nason the one who's constantly getting yelled at as like,
who
"Oh, you should
knows?
go." And I just the whole Devils team
Bye.
is really frustrating because they had like they were really fun to watch at the beginning of the season and I
Now they're
feel
just like,
like since February it's been like, "Oh, this hurts. This is not no, I don't like
yeah.
this anymore."
I remember when they came back from Christmas too. It's like I think since then it's just been like they're skating by, but
They like
not like
flatlined.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody's kind of like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? Because your top six isn't scoring the way they should be, and then the bottom six isn't doing anything. So it's kind of like every day I'm like, I open Twitter and they're just like, okay, so is anything gonna happen? And I have no idea. Also, like they
Well,
did
also
lose Markstrom, so that probably also plays a part of the whole not playing great, I guess. But
no, yeah, obviously, but like standings wise, they have
it's
played the most games out of
yeah,
like contenders um for the playoffs and
they're
they're
holding on to that third spot like for dear life because if someone
the,
catches them,
the Blue Jackets could take it.
yeah,
Like also
and
the
like
thing is the Devils have like that's also when you look at scheduling, the Devils have a really tough schedule coming up after Utah
yeah.
because they play Utah and then they play Vegas, um Dallas, and then there's another one. Vegas, Dallas, and then the Jets.
Yeah, those aren't easy,
Those are not easy games
not
by
easy
any stretch of
wins.
the imagination.
No.
And then if we look at the Blue
Then it's
Jackets
Winnipeg at home
schedule,
again. Oh
hmm
my God.
yeah.
Philly, Blue Jackets, Edmonton. All right, so then yeah, it's not
Whereas the Blue
great.
Jackets have Detroit, Tampa, Florida. So like not easy games,
It's
but
just
games that like could go like the Florida's been really weird this year with how they've been playing and
so
who they've
odd.
been losing to. Um, and I just
I don't know. We'll see.
mm.
That's the one like every time. Maybe it's because I'm like constantly I'm around it a lot and everybody's like talking about it, but I'm always like, I don't know what they would do. But like the last one I remember them doing anything for was when they got Timo, which was now 2 years ago, which seems insane to me. That was that long ago. But
Yeah.
like I don't think they did anything last year that was like crazy. So well, they weren't good last year. Sorry to them.
This is such a
Um,
mess.
but yeah, I just think I don't know if it'll be insane enough, but I think it'll whatever moves are made, it'll help kind of solidify whatever teams actually come out of the East
Yeah.
in that playoff race. Because if you're a seller, then you're admitting in a way, like, okay, we're done. This isn't happening this year. But it doesn't mean you can't. Doesn't mean if you do that, you can't make the playoffs anyway. I
But
don't
I
know. I
think
just it kind
my
of solidifies who you're looking at.
my thing with the trade deadline is, and especially for like the Devils, I don't think the Blue Jackets are really looking to shake anything up that
I think
severely.
they said they would bring someone in, but I don't know. Like again, they're getting everybody off. Looks like you're on a boat. You're like,
I feel like it's so crooked. It's
no, you got
probably
it's
only
actually
annoying
perfect
me.
now. No, I got
Um,
it.
so okay,
Hmm.
this is common sense, I fear, but like if it's not, so sorry. When you're trading this close to the deadline and your division is that tight, you're not trading within your conference
No.
at all. Like you'd have to get someone super impactful for basically nothing to make a
Yeah.
trade in conference and you'd be stupid. Like the only way I could see like hypothetically is if like Pittsburgh or Buffalo were to trade away like one of their like star players
Yeah.
to the Devils. It's like the only way
Could
that
you
that would
imagine?
work in division or
Yeah.
in conference. So like the Devils have to look to the West and then when you look at the West and you're looking at forwards, I don't know who we're pulling to really make the Devils game that much
Yeah,
more impactful.
the only one that like and also the thing about the teams in the West is that I think we've kind of mentioned there's so many more like contender built teams in the West that they have a solid lineup that I don't want to say people aren't going anywhere, but like those players, those forwards especially, are not leaving those teams.
Yeah.
So I think like we mentioned Besser, but like he's in a question mark. So if Vancouver moves him, okay, maybe it's a rental. You still would have to sign him, whatever. But like minus the fact that we know he hasn't resigned there yet, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head another forward in the West that's like ready to move or like is open to be like, okay, not open because they probably aren't ever.
That's
But you know what I mean?
also
Like,
for all the fans who want to yell about whatever trade they want their team to make at whatever time. We have no movement clauses, we have
yeah,
trade
no trade
restrictions.
clauses,
Like you have like
modified.
half of the Rangers have like an NTC and it's like you can't do
Yeah.
anything.
Like, and they get to pick
So
the teams that they don't want to go to, unless you are the Rangers and decide to break that anyway, because they did. But yeah,
yep.
usually, but that also makes it difficult because you have to get that player to waive your no move clause to move you anywhere. And if you have like a modified no trade, you can only go to so many teams and not the other teams, even if those teams want you. So it makes it very difficult. I would not want to be a GM for that reason, to have to try and move puzzle pieces around to make that happen.
There are thoughts in my head. Oh, Connor Bedard.
Oh,
This poor
now the TikTok
child.
edits are getting us.
The TikTok edits are killing me. His
They
play is killing
all
me.
the
His
time.
team is killing me. How many different lines has he had this year?
So many.
It's like
Like,
30 something, 50
yeah.
something, 60 something. It's up there.
Someone get him out of there.
It just,
Just take him, put him
I
somewhere else.
wonder. I don't know that anyone wants to take him because he's been on such a team that hasn't produced well enough. Like it's hard to
Yeah.
tell whether he's done such a great job. Um, and I think like, but you would have to give up a decent amount for him. But at what point does
Yeah.
that kid look at the GM and go, give
And
me a
say, get me
trade
out.
now?
Also, I think it's interesting, again, depending on what happens coming up to the trade deadline, but Seth Jones was like, I want out. And like when you
Yeah.
have a player who they brought in purposely kind of to bring the veteran leadership when they had Bedard come in, say that, that would kind of alert you to be like, oh, maybe it's not going the way I should. And I know we always talk about the difference between like him and Celebrini, but even though the Sharks are losing, the Sharks for some reason seem like they have it more together
I feel like
than
they're
the Hawks
supporting their
do.
rookies better.
Yes. And
Better? That was an English.
yes, what'd you say? I didn't even hear it. Okay,
It
anyway,
sounded
it is
like
English.
it was like bleh.
Um, and I know I think I'm always pushing the thing where like they have so many young guys in their system in the AHL and they haven't had them play with him or they're not all on the same team, so the gel isn't working, but I feel so bad. I think every time I see him sit in the penalty box or get a TikTok edit, I'm like, oh my God, I feel
Yeah.
terrible. Not that I feel like we've seen first overall picks go to teams and then have like a pretty bad sophomore year. Like that's
It's not
not out of
abnormal.
the
No.
ordinary. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the scale of like how he came in, the hype around him and who he was, and the fact that the team is just like so I don't want to say was it below expectations. Like he isn't getting to play the way he wants, I guess, because they're not giving him the pieces to. But yeah, I don't know. I feel bad.
But I
Like,
also feel bad because every time he does something spectacular, everyone jumps on it and is like, "Oh my God,
yeah,
amazing." And then half the comments are glazed, he doesn't deserve this, you're
yeah.
hyping him up too much. And it's like,
He's a
no,
kid.
he is a
First off, pause.
phenomenal hockey player.
He
Yeah.
is what, 19 years old, I think now?
He
If that.
he might be
I'm gonna check now.
he might be 20.
No way. He has
Mm,
a late birthday. He's like Celebrini, like he's a birthday. I typed in the team name like instead of Connor Bedard. Connor Bedard is the Blackhawks, kind
yes.
of. He is 19. His birthday is July 17th, so he'll be 20.
Oh, okay.
Currently 19. Still,
He's a
imagine
child.
you having millions of people yell at you on the internet because you did something cool Also, like, you shouldn't be having, like, there's so much of that I hate. But
I saw
yeah,
someone on one of the websites, I don't remember which one it was, that was like, maybe we
one
should
of the
have
websites.
more of like a protection around these children
Yeah,
and like maybe not use them as like the face of the organization
a
when they're
franchise. Yeah.
17 years old.
Hmm.
A thought.
Also, I'm interested, like you said about him deciding, I guess, like when there's a point when he's like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. I
Yeah.
know technically he'll be an RFA when his entry level is up, but like next year is his last year in that entry level. So it'll be interesting to see if he does make a push to be like, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. Because again, even if
But
Chicago
he's
gets a
gonna have
high,
to show like hold on. He has to
yes,
show up more. Like okay, he's
his
great.
points. I think everybody is like yelling about how he's worse this year, but he's on the same like trajectory as he was last year points wise. I don't know. You can only do so much.
Yes, but in this league, is that enough?
I
And
know.
this is part of the
Yeah, also true.
conversation that I had with that guy on Twitter where I was like,
Oh yeah.
which I think that episode might be coming out after this one, but I got into a fight with someone to it on Twitter. Um,
Just wait till you hear it
about
on
Matthew
that
Kachuk.
episode.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
He's like
Last year he
not.
had okay, his plus minus is terrible, but like they are a terrible team.
There is so much talent in the NHL
Yeah.
that yes, you're 19. Yes, you will still be young when your contract expires. Yes, you are a great player for your age. Is that what any team needs right now? And that's the problem with looking to move for him is he needs to up his production on a level so much next year to where it can be like I will be helpful on any team, not
And
just the
everybody
team
wants
that
him.
sucks.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like him and Celebrini might differ because I feel like Celebrini really is having a fantastic rookie season to
He's
where
also
it's
more of a like well-rounded
yes, he is. He is
player than Bedard
absolutely
is.
a better 200-foot player than
Yeah.
Bedard
So
is.
that also like if you were trying to get Celebrini, that would be way harder than getting Bedard because he is not on the they're not despite them being young, they're not the same player in that same sense of your young rookie phenom,
No, they
whatever.
just they have different styles of play and
Yeah.
I think that like when you're looking at Bedard, he's supposed to be like the scoring machine and
Because he
he's
was in
not top
juniors.
40 in goals.
Yeah.
And if you want to push to leave the team that you're on, you have to be beneficial for another team.
Make a point.
And I'm trying to think of a team that he would want to go. I'm sure that there are teams that would take him. I'm sure that Buffalo would take him. I don't think Boston would take him despite needing a little bit more scoring.
Yeah.
I think you're more looking at like Buffalo, the Kings maybe, maybe the Senators, maybe the Flames. Blues, Blue Jackets might be looking for something
Mm,
like that. But like you're still not looking at these like top teams like where he probably wants to be. You're still looking at like mid to low
a
level
middle.
teams that
Yeah.
need that scoring. But Bedard, you're not doing enough. Like if I'm a GM of that team, I'm not looking at you and going, I'm going to offer you a full contract
Oh yeah.
with the way that you're playing now, even considering how badly Chicago has been playing. And like, listen, I'm sure if this clip gets to the wrong side of the internet, we're going to get screamed at.
Yeah.
I just personally, my opinion is that Bedard might have come into the league a little too early.
And I also think we had
So,
this conversation too about like first overall picks as a whole because
mhm.
who was it that went and played college after they were drafted? It was someone recently. Someone was drafted really high and they who was it? I'm gonna have to look it up. Um, but the idea of like, are you thinking about it or just looking?
I like my it's not there's
I
the only
can't
names
remember.
popping into my head right now of people who played in college are the Hughes brothers and Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith, and you're not talking about
Will
any of
Smith,
them.
that's who it was. Okay,
Oh,
he was
okay.
yes. Okay, he was not a first overall pick. Yes, I was thinking Adam Fantilli, and I'm like that was not who I was trying to mention. Although he
My
did the
brain
same
was
thing.
like going through the Michigan roster.
Yeah, I was like I know. So Fantilli did the same thing, but the one I was thinking about was Will Smith, where when you're I feel like there's an expectation when you're in the top 3, you just automatically jump into the NHL, especially for the first overall pick.
Yeah.
And I remember having the conversation. I think maybe I was also thinking about Owen Power because I think he went to play college after he was drafted. I will have to look it up. They all kind of gel in my head. Um, but the expectation that some of them are just like, no, I want to go back and play a year in college because again, that's kind of if you're not playing in the AHL, it's also like a developmental league. Like you're learning how to play. You're playing on a level that's similar to the NHL with players that you may end up playing in the NHL with.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. I'd have to go back to like see if it actually is like beneficial. But I kind of love when they decide to go back to college for a year or two just to play before they make that jump.
Yeah.
Because unless you're like again a Celebrini or like Crosby or some like McDavid, like you have to be on this insane level to make the jump to the NHL and be very successful right off the bat.
And I
You
do
playing in
think,
college
but
or juniors is beneficial for you, I would say.
I do think Bedard was at that level, and I don't
Yeah.
think that he, I, th- okay, you know the commercial that they have of like the It's Tricky commercial that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have?
yeah. With
Okay.
the goals.
Jack Hughes often gets criticized for playing Instagram hockey, social media hockey, et cetera, like very like flashy,
Instagram
tricky,
hockey.
etc.
Yes.
Bedard does it too.
Yeah.
Bedard does it a lot. And I just feel like he needs more training. I feel like Bedard wants to be like an Ovechkin where he just stands there, gets the puck to him
And
and goes, score.
scores. Yeah.
And it's just not how that works in the
But
league
also,
unless you are
yeah.
Ovechkin. And so
And
like
you kind of have to get to that level first off. Like you don't just get like there. But I think on the same thing about us saying, like talking about them sending people down to the AHL, although that would probably like be good for
I
him.
don't think
They
he should get
they
sent down.
no, but they also like I think there's also a thing too like they would never do that because he
No, he
is like
brings in too much money
the
for the
name
team. Yeah.
exactly. So they're
But
like,
that's the
well,
thing
even
is
if
I
you're not
don't
playing well,
think I understand the point of making
I
your
probably
first
do
overall of your first overall pick being like the name of your team.
franchise. Yeah,
But I will say the Rangers didn't do it with Kako, and I think that that was a good decision. Um,
I was gonna say look how that turned out,
did he get flamed anyway
but
by the fans? Yes.
yes,
However,
they didn't really do that with Lafreniere either.
no, and
They did a little more, but
I
not on the
think
same
that
level at
that's a
all.
good thing because as
Yeah.
much as I like love the social media content we get out of like Smith and Mac, I don't think
They're
that
just
they should be the like face of the team.
no,
I
but
think
who
that
else would
that's
be?
I don't I don't know, but I think that some teams are allowed to just not have a face. Just
Yeah,
let them like
does not have a face. But
let
like,
them exist as teenagers for
no,
five
I agree. But I
seconds.
honestly think like the Devils did that when Jack came in.
Hmm.
It was like the only person you would ever know who's on that team was Jack Hughes. They
Yes.
didn't really do it so much when Luke came in because like they, I guess, he was already he already knew he was coming. But yeah, I think it's usually what people end up doing, but it isn't always the greatest because also it puts so much more pressure on them
Yeah.
as if you were just like integrated into the lineup as a regular player. Nobody has to know who like knows who you are, but not like overly knows who you are. But like purposely spotlighting them kind of sets them up for everybody to really be paying attention to every single move they make. And sometimes it isn't
Yeah.
the best. Although I feel like when I never hear like bad things about Celebrini. And if people are
No,
complaining
I
about him, I'm
will.
not seeing it. Like I'm just not seeing that if they are.
But so here's also what I will say is I think that the Sharks social or GM or
They're
whoever, I
so
don't even
smart.
know who's in charge of it. They're doing such a great job of promoting Celebrini because if Bedard got walked like that,
That's what I
okay,
mean. Like, I don't hear nothing
so
about
like
that.
Caulfield,
It's sickle.
stunning, absolutely nasty play, absolutely walked Celebrini
And I feel like everybody was
for
just
the
like,
overtime
okay,
winner. And everyone's like, yeah, Cole. Great job, Cole.
yeah.
Stunning job, Cole. No one is
I
talking
don't hear
about the fact
anything.
that it's Macklin Celebrini who just gave up on the play.
Like literally. And
But
I
if it was
think,
Bedard, he would have gotten ripped
yeah.
to
But I
shreds.
wonder if that's because people have these expectations. Like the Sharks have been so bad for a while now that they're just like, okay, you lost another game, whatever. And I wonder if there was like I feel like when Bedard was drafted, they're like Blackhawks second cup, like they're gonna like win the cup next year, blah blah blah, whatever. And
Yeah.
the Sharks did not have that. Like they, I feel like admitted like we got the first overall pick. He's a great player. We're still bad.
I think there was
That's
more
that.
of, yeah, I think there was more of an era of like he's going to save Chicago.
Yes.
Whereas with Celebrini, it was like this is the beginning of a new era,
Era. Yeah.
but it
And they
is
had
not
stuff.
going to happen immediately.
Yeah.
I think that social media has so much to do with how teams are perceived. And I feel like the
Yes.
fact that the Sharks are doing a better job of like this is their progression and we're purposely
Mm-hmm.
framing it as like they are rookies, they are new, look at our
They're
little
growing.
babies,
Yeah.
they're growing, da 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 da.
Meanwhile,
And
it's
then you
like
have Bedard who it's
Bedard,
like
grown men.
he's going to save this entire franchise. And then
Literally.
also like that
He has
poor
no
kid
friends.
looks so tired.
I know. He's trying to carry the whole team all the time. And like he has to be aware.
And I think
I
that it's
just
impacting his play. Like I think Bedard
yeah.
like and listen, I don't talk out of my I don't typically just like talk to talk. I do, but like
Not in certain areas, yes.
I have a podcast, I like to yap. But what I'm saying is I don't typically talk about hockey without having any knowledge of it. And I've watched like a film of Bedard from juniors and like
Yeah. It's
when he
crazy.
played, like I actually paid attention to like what was happening and so I could talk about it and be like he is playing well, he's not playing well. And I haven't watched it recently. This is now like what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, almost 2 years ago. I hate that.
The kid is phenomenal. He's a great hockey player. He is just not as well rounded as he should be to play in the
Hmm.
show. And I think that you're seeing it a lot more now. And I think that the fact that his entire team is relying on him to be the entire team
Yep.
is hindering his play a lot. And so you're not giving him the opportunity to grow enough,
Yeah,
and it's
makes
going to
sense.
kill him.
Yeah,
Not
and I also
literally, but
think
like,
no, but when it kind of sucks too because you know he has so much talent, but we're obviously not seeing it at his full potential in a sense. Like,
yeah.
and whether that's the team's fault or like the media's fault, whatever it is, but I can't think of the last time that happened in a first overall pick, but I feel like it'd be so freeing for him to just have like people around him that know how to play similar to him and then like get a couple more wins every year. You don't have to make the
It
playoffs,
is
but
one
just
of the
win a little
reasons,
more.
it's one of the reasons I would have loved to have seen him on Canada is because I would have loved
Yes.
to have seen like, and okay, real quick, USA, Canada, Cole Caulfield. If that kid is not on the lineup for
There's
the
no way.
Olympic team, I'm gonna lose it. He is
We
literally
also
one
had
of the
this,
best offensive players in
yeah.
the league right now, and I'm going to scream if he is not on that
We had
Olympic
this
team.
conversation the other day at work where like we kind of mentioned where like the Rangers and whoever gets taken off the Isles, whatever. And everybody at work was like, okay, so Jason Robertson definitely makes it. There's no way he doesn't. Cole Caulfield absolutely makes it.
That
There's
hat
no way he
trick
doesn't.
on Long Island was just like
Yes.
revenge for not being
I
on
was
the
like,
team.
you have, who was the other one? There was somebody else. They're like, they were like left off, and there's no way you don't go to the Olympics without them. Although I don't know, I'd be interested to see if Celebrini or Bedard go next year for Canada, but I feel like, again, Canada has
Again,
such
I
a
think that they should be
stacked
backups.
roster. Yeah, they
No,
can be
but
like
that's the
your
thing is
subs.
Canada does have a really stacked roster, and I
Yeah,
do
there's
feel
like no
like
space.
I feel like I'm excited to see World Cup 2028 and see Celebrini
Yeah,
and Bedard. Like that's gonna be such a fun, like to see them actually play with like great players is gonna be
yes.
so interesting.
And at that point, they'll be like more than a couple years in to like their NHL career. So it's literally not like a rookie playing with
Yeah.
everybody else. Not that they're not capable, but they'll be more established, you
Yeah,
would think.
sorry, the Cole Caulfield thing is making me really
No, it's
mad
wild.
because I'm
We
sure
went
like
off on that.
I'm sure that no, but like I'm sure the GMs like watching his OT winner the other night were like, we could have used that. We could have used that. That would
Like
have been nice.
I wonder what that would have looked like. Oh, well, I have no idea.
Hold on, because I posted stats about him the other day because it like he is having a stellar season.
Yeah.
Um, did the Rangers just make another trade? No,
What?
I think it's just a different graphic. I think it's just a different graphic. I was gonna
I'm
lose
still gonna look
my
anyway.
mind.
You're panicking me. I'm
Sorry.
becoming panicked. You're fine. I'm like, what?
I
What's happening?
don't, I can't deal with this anymore. Where is it? Okay, so I can't read it. It's too small. I can't read it. It's too small. Someone help me.
I
Stop
can't
it.
read it because I can't see your phone.
Okay.
Can you zoom in on it?
No. So
Oh,
he is in the 99th percentile for 5-on-5 offense.
what you love?
To be
That's
fair, he
something
is
you want?
also in the bottom 6% for 5-on-5 defense. But he's
Shh.
98th percent in goals, 79% on assists, and 90% in points. And he's not great on the power play. But again, he's 5'8". So, but like it just ooh, oh, how do you have someone who's that offensively like charged at
Yeah,
5'8",
not on
mind
your
you? Like
team.
he's a tiny little baby and he is having a phenomenal season, whether that is fueled by grief or like a
He
spite
had a
thing.
good
I have,
season last year too. It's just like
yes,
a
but he is already
yeah. He's
at
already
like
at
the same amount of goals that he was. He's having an absolutely amazing season.
yes.
I am so proud of that kid. Just put him on the Olympic team because I just,
I feel
I,
like there's no way that he doesn't make it. And like again, we talk about like when you're watching that game, like how do you choose Adam Fox, Brock Nelson,
how do you,
Kreider, any of
how do
them?
you, how do
Who
you
else?
put a half injured Chris Kreider, who
Yes.
is just on the decline on a team where you know you're going to play Canada in the finals, and you put Brock Nelson, which like why was Nelson on that team?
Who knows?
Uh,
So yeah, I definitely think there's no way they don't look at that and then look at everybody else who didn't make it and be like, okay. Because again, if you know if you have the potential of meeting Canada again with almost the same team in the Olympics,
how
you have to
much
change something.
money do you think Chris Drury gave to the NHL to be like,
If
put
like,
five of my
please
players on this
take
team?
all of them. Take all of them.
I think
None.
JT Miller's the
Leave
only
them
one who
home.
deserves to be there, and
Yeah.
he wasn't technically a Ranger when the team was
No,
made. So
literally. Yeah.
I will say Cole definitely needs to improve his defensive game. And I think that's what I said like early, like when we were talking about the rosters, that his
We
defensive
did.
game
Yeah.
isn't as great. And he is really tiny. I think that I don't know if he needs to like bulk up necessarily, but like get a little bit more aggressive. But Jack does too. And Jack isn't
Yeah.
necessarily, I mean, he's 5'10",
10,
5'11",
I think he is listed at.
5'10".
Yeah.
He's he loses puck battles in the corner and it's
Oh, five
fine.
eleven. Sorry.
I'm sure he is.
It
Um,
says 5'11.
mm, I just I have a lot of opinions currently that are coming, and it just we don't need to talk about them right now, but my brain is flowing. Um, Bedard needs help. I would love to see him on a national team. I would love to see him with players who can actually play, and I hope that he gets that at some point. I just
Yeah.
don't, as a GM, looking at his game currently, would not want to keep him.
I agree.
Or I wouldn't want to buy him, I guess.
Buy
Because
him.
I don't
Trade for
know.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who you would like trade. Jesus Christ. All right, Brock Nelson hurt us and got mad at us and scored a goal.
Okay. He has two now,
I
doesn't he?
think so.
I think that's the second. Yeah.
Also, speaking of rookies and speaking of Montreal and people who are getting overlooked, Lane
Oh, Lane
Hudson.
Hudson? Yeah.
Why is he not in talks for Calder?
I
Because
think
he should be.
he definitely is, but I think people,
I think like
this is the
mainstream
other thing
media
that,
wise, he's not.
yeah, and I think this is the same thing we always talk about, like with Hart, like it's always a forward, it's like usually a forward winning award.
It's also, I
But
will say, the Calder is also typically given to the first overall. Like everyone always thinks
yes,
it's going to be the first overall or second overall,
no,
except for
genuinely, I
like
think
except for Michkov this year. People were saying that he would be in contention. Except when you look at stats,
the numbers are, yeah,
as of I want to say last night, Lane has more points than Michkov and Celebrini, and he's a defenseman.
the last defenseman, oh, Mo Seider won it a couple years ago. He was the last one to win it. Before him, it was Kale, and then Before him, Aaron Ekblad
Okay.
for Calder. Like very rare though, because usually it's a forward.
If he is not, if he keeps this up and he doesn't win Calder, I'm
No,
rioting.
but I think we've talked about this too about how who was it last year? Oh, Brock Faber. How everybody was like this again. Last year's Calder was the weirdest thing ever. It was Connor Bedard and two defensemen, which I
Yeah,
feel like is a very odd mix of
it is,
players.
but those defensemen deserve
Valid.
to be there.
Yes, absolutely. So I think when it was coming down to the wire, everybody was like, okay, Connor Bedard's probably going to win it. But like the case for Brock Faber was like through the roof, and he didn't win it. I don't know. We'll see. Actually, I don't know the last time. Now I'm going to look. Like, when was the last time Montreal had anybody who won the Calder? Take a guess.
Lane is
Probably a very long
having,
time.
oh, last time Montreal had someone win the Calder,
Won the Calder, yeah. If
70s or
ever.
80s,
Let's see.
if ever. 70s? Trying to think of like,
Okay. You're right. 19. Hold on, I'm scrolling past it. 1972. Ken
okay.
Dryden, goalie. That was the last one.
Speaking of awards that
Fun
go to people
fact.
that they don't normally go to, Hellebuck should also be in contention
Hart?
for Hart. Yeah.
Yeah. I was making, before I got her, I also thought Quinn Hughes should be Hart contender, but they also never give those to anybody who's not your forward. Or
Yeah.
like the highest scoring. I know like they have the Art Ross, but like usually if you win Art Ross, typically you almost get the Hart, but you have to be up there in points usually to get it. But the whole point is the Hart is like can be won by anybody, and it's almost never won by anybody who is not a forward. But yeah,
Oh,
put
okay.
Connor Hellebuyck in there.
I'm so sorry, guys. I literally was, okay, I got my car fixed this morning and I typically go to a cafe like down the street. And I was waiting for like a really long time. And so I may have had like a large latte and a large matcha. And so there's like a
Oh
lot
my
of
God,
caffeine going through my system right now,
I love it.
which is fine, except it just makes the ADHD like, woo.
We're
Anyways,
all over.
Stadium Series is later. Um, I
Very
I don't
excited.
know that I love the design of the Detroit jersey, but I really want the little patch for Al the
I
octopus. I
know.
just
I
want
really
him.
like Columbus's. I was a fan of the other one they have with the cannon, but I know the little octopus and I love that they
He's
snuck
so
it in
cute.
there.
He's
That they
so
just like
cute. I
my
want him.
if I was wearing that, I would be like, you want to see something cool? Just flip it. Like you have to see a little octopus on my jersey.
I have to
Sorry.
say, I'm like debating like taking the train into the city to go to the NHL store because I'm bored. And I shouldn't, but I want to.
As you should.
Anyways, what do you think they wear for walk-ins? Because we're filming this like right before they're gonna do
Okay,
walk-ins.
I have no idea what Columbus is doing. The only thing I heard from Detroit was at work last night. We actually had an interview with Dylan Larkin, and they asked him what they were doing, and he was like, "I'm not a fan of it, but I forget what he said, but it means a lot to him or something." And I was like, "How number one, how can you not be a fan of it, but then also have it mean something to you?" I don't know. I feel like I'm really bad with these.
I feel like they're gonna end up doing something Michigan, Ohio related because
True. That's like the whole. Yeah,
yeah,
but okay, but you also have. I feel like there's still Michigan would be the Wings, and I feel like
yeah,
anybody on for the Blue Jackets would be like, I'm sorry, because that's Ohio. Unless you're doing like state, like what do you like school wise or like
yeah.
yeah, but I
Like
don't know.
I
They
think
they said it
like
seriously.
I don't know. I feel like Detroit would come in. Okay, so I did see that. I don't remember who made it, but they made a special helmet that's gonna go to the winning goalie tonight. Um,
Ooh.
and it's like half Detroit, half Ohio. And like on the back of it, they have the stickers that Ohio and Michigan both had on their helmets this
Oh,
year
it's cool.
for football. Yeah.
That
It's
is
a really
special winning
cool
jersey.
helmet. I'll repost it on our socials, which obviously will be done at this point.
Yeah.
Um, but if you see it on Saturday, last Saturday in the
We told you
past,
about this.
we mentioned it.
We told you.
If you haven't seen it,
I'm gonna
go
look
look
it
it
up
up.
right now
Um,
because now I'm curious.
I don't know, but like Larkin, likes Larkin went to Michigan, so I don't know why he wouldn't
Yes.
like it. I'm
That's
trying
what
to
I mean. I
like
don't know. Oh,
I
it is
will
so
say,
cool.
yeah.
Oh, I'm
I
obsessed actually.
the my least favorite of the last few years was the Rangers and the Islanders, but specifically the Islanders because they came in suits. So
Wait, I thought they did the whole like FDNY.
the Rangers came in like colored uniforms,
Yeah.
um, like red
Why
and
do I
blue,
not
like
remember the
Rangers.
Isles showing up? They
Islanders
showed
came
up
in
in suits.
suits,
That's so on brand for the
but
Islanders,
they
though.
they came in
Like,
like with first responders, but they had
that's so fun. My game day suit was on. Sorry, nothing
yeah.
special. That's it. I can't.
But so I'm like, I don't know. I like the walk-in outfits. I want to like bring back and make
They're
them
so
fun again.
cool.
So I don't know. Okay, you know what would be fun with Detroit though? Because they're going for like the automobile vibe for
Yeah,
like their
the
jerseys. If they came as like greasers,
oh, that would work.
that would be real. And I feel
That
like
would
Larkin
good.
wouldn't like it.
No, yeah, true. I'm
Um,
like I need to I like the actual game part of it, but like with these special events, I love the
yeah.
extracurricular stuff because it's so cool.
And I feel like Columbus is either going to go full Ohio State University football championships or
I just
they're
want to
gonna
know what
make us
they're
all sob and all come out in like Johnny Hockey stuff, which I feel like
yeah,
is the
I
more
know.
likely of the two.
Um, I guess they're not the same thing though, but that's like when they're going on the ice, they're having their family or yeah, lead them out. But the walk-in is a separate because they're aren't they walking
I'm saying
to
like
the stadium?
arrivals is what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
arrivals. Yeah. I just think if they do go Ohio State, it'd be the funniest thing for the four of them that they have that went to Michigan have to like wear that and like walk. I feel like they would hate their lives. Like
That
that'd be the
video,
funniest thing in the world. With the
that
jerseys,
video was really funny with the jerseys
so
where
good.
they, yeah.
They're like there's a couple too that they had like the what is their mascot called? Like the Ohio whatever it is.
I don't know what his name is, but I'm always
But
like
they had him
confused.
yeah, they had it. I don't know what it is or how to explain it. And I think
He
he
looks
took
like
a
a
picture like
lightning bug. I
that's
don't
how
know.
really? I
He
guess
looks
maybe,
like a
yeah.
bug. It's a bug.
Yeah. But every time they
Colorful.
had like a picture with I think it was with Adam Fantilli and like they none of them, any of them that were like went to Michigan were like, I don't want anything to do with you. Sorry that I now live in the state of Ohio. It's funny. I love it. I'm gonna
I
look this
want to
up
say it
actually. I
was
want to know.
Larkin that was like, this is the ugliest stadium I've ever
Yes.
played in.
Yes. Yeah. Because
Um,
it's so funny. They just hate it.
to be fair, my friend, that was
It's just
really
called
loud. I'm so sorry.
Brutus Buckeye.
My friend goes to Michigan. I have a few friends who go to Michigan. And then my aunt went to Ohio State,
Oh,
and
I
my
love
I
that.
think my cousin went to Ohio State, and I almost went to Ohio State. Um, and now I'm looking at possibly going back to school and looking at Michigan. So the whole thing. But I'm a Michigan fan, and my brothers are OSU fans, and so the
Yeah.
like Thanksgiving week is always a mess in our
That is
household.
so funny.
Yeah.
Pure rivalry. But we love
Which
that.
like
That's how it should be.
I have to say the Michigan Ohio rivalry feels more intense than like the Columbus Detroit. I will say
Yeah.
I am really happy the standings have like settled the
Panned
way they
out.
have for today because they're tied currently.
Yeah.
Um, so
Someone
that's
I posted a TikTok.
gonna be fun.
Yeah. I posted a TikTok and somebody was like about how like the NHL again, it's a Stadium Series game and there's like everybody else in the world playing because the NHL is the NHL.
Yeah.
But someone commented on it and they're like, they picked the two worst teams to play. I was like, actually, they are both sitting in a playoff spot and like whatever. And then they came back and they're like, no, not marketable teams. I was like, also untrue, but like, okay, have your argument. But I was so excited. I was like, no, no, they're both in the playoff spot. If you could just look up the standings,
The
they're
thing
not bad
that's
anymore.
the thing that's hard for me is like Detroit is a marketable team, but they just like
Yeah.
keep missing. But I think when something tragic happens, people's eyes are drawn to it, and I think that's
Mhm.
kind of what happened with the Blue Jackets. They're also playing really well this season
Yeah.
comparatively.
And I think
But
we kind of had a conversation about the Winter Classic where again they put the Blues and the Blackhawks in it, and that I don't know if I would have had a preference to which game I would have watched more, but maybe I also think because I watch usually East, like a lot more teams in the East, I'm
Mhm.
always kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. Like this game impacts teams I watch, so
Yes.
like I'm more interested in it. But yeah, I think that yes, as a whole, yes. So
We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited to watch it.
Me
I love that
too.
the Cannons there. I hope they score like 10 goals so they can do that for everybody there.
We have to go to a
But
Columbus game together
I
so we
it's
can
like
be
bucket
terrified of
list.
the cannon
Yes.
together.
I was telling someone at work, I was like, literally, I
If they make
I've
the
always wanted
playoffs,
to
we
go to
should
like
go.
okay, I'll drive. It's fine. I've always wanted to go to like all 32
Yeah, no, me too.
arenas or whatever, but I was
The
like
sun
the
is
sole
just not.
purpose. Yeah, it's like setting over here, so my I look like I'm like not setting. It's like cloudy. That's the right word. Um,
It's 2 o'clock. The sun
I
is not setting.
solely I solely need to go to a game, and if they don't score a goal, I need them like I'll have to go to another game because I just only want to hear the cannon.
We have to go to a
I will
game where they're
probably
we
be
have to
terrified of it.
schedule where they're going to like they're playing like with a bad goalie or something.
Please, like pick like yeah, honestly, score like
Yeah.
5 of them, and I'll take it. But yes, I'm in.
Okay. Who
That
do you
was
think
a lot.
wins?
We covered everything.
I think
Who do I
Detroit
think wins?
wins.
I was gonna say the Blue Jackets.
Okay. We're opposites
Why
again. You
we
were
keep
right last
going
time.
opposites? Yeah,
Let's
we.
see who
I
wins
was
today.
yes. It's okay. We should start keeping tally of every time we pick something and see how many we actually get right.
It's
But
okay. I have a list.
do you really?
Yeah.
The ongoing list?
There's only two so far where we've like picked games.
What was the other one?
The Canada US.
Oh, so this is the second. I was like, this is the second one.
This is
Okay,
the second one.
because we didn't talk.
I don't
Yeah,
think we
Winter
talked
Classic
about the
was
Winter
just like,
Classic. Yeah. Oopsies.
eh.
All right. Well,
Sorry, guys.
Stadium Series will have passed when you're listening to this. One of us writes, one of us is right, one of us is wrong. Trade deadline's coming up on Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. I will have updates for you as much as I can. Bree, I hope you have fun on your vacation. And
Thanks. I'll be around. We'll see. At
I,
very odd times that all
yeah,
of you people are probably not, functioning, but I will still be there.
she'll be there if you need to yell at her.
Yes.
Um, and we'll see you guys next week. All
Yeah.
right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.